What do you think the biggest question players are going to have about innistrad?
At this point,
probably the issue with the draft and the double-sided cards. What I'm thinking, since Wizards kind of backpedaled on that quickly right before the set was released. Not everyone has the right information. Not everyone knows what the correct answer is, but double-faced cards are public knowledge. And you can't hide them anymore. It's the right to see them.
And when it comes to a draft, is it ethical to stand up during a draft to see what your opponent drafted across the table?
As long as you're not leaving your seat and walking around table to table. If the rules allow it, they explicitly say the card goes, on the top of your pile, and everyone has the right to see it. So if you want to stand up and look around, go ahead. But, your time sometimes.
What's up, everybody? Joe Carroll here with the Infinite Magic Cast. And I'm here bringing you a video of live coverage of the Innistrad pre-release. Overall, it was a really great day. A lot of people showed up. We actually had to turn some people away, which is a good problem and a bad problem, I guess. But nonetheless, it was a good day overall. I had a green-white deck that I played and took 9th place and just barely missed the top 8, but it was a lot of fun. But the story of the day has to be my friend Chris Jobin. Opened a sealed pool, wanted his money back, and there was nothing good in there. And he went on to go undefeated and made top 8, and this is our first top 8 match with Chris and Tim, who wins the die roll and will lead with a forest, electing to play. Jobin will lead with a swamp. Tim leads with one of them feared checklist cards, and to Jobin's demise, of course, it's going to be Mayor of Avabrak, who can single-handedly win games. Jobin draws his card for the turn and immediately deadweights. Tim can't be too happy with that, but nonetheless, he's got to keep going, so he plays a land and passes the turn. Jobin follows up with a 2/1 flyer that can't block and ships the turn. Tim follows up with another land and a Mausoleum Guard. Ships the turn. Jobin will untap, draw a card, and get in there for the first blood of the game, putting Tim down to 18. Taps 4, plays an Abbey Griffin, ships a turn. Abbey Griffin's a 2/3 flyer with vigilance. Tim studies his hand, drops the forest, swings it for 2. Jobin does not block, because if he does, the creature will die and he'll get 2 1/1s on Tim's side, and that would disrupt his plan of flying over for 2 each turn with the vampire. Tim follows up with a Fiend Hunter, removing the Abbey Griffin. Ships the turn. Jobin follows up with a land and continues with his plan to swing for 2 in the air, putting Tim to 16. Follows the play up with a pike and equips, and notices there's no sorceries or instants in the graveyard, so the pike is literally giving him nothing at the moment. Tim swings back for 3. Jobin takes it. Ships the turn. Jobin swings back, puts Tim down to 14, and follows the play up with a pitchfork, and going all in on this 2/1 flyer with the equipment. Tim retaliates and follows up with a Spirit. It's a 2/1 flying first strike, and that would give trouble to Jobin, except he had the removal spell in removing a Spirit from play. He follows up with a swing of his own, puts Tim down to 11, and ends the turn by playing an Elder. Tim will retaliate with the Fiend Hunter and with the Guard, no blocks, and follows it up with a Sleuth, claiming that he will never be able to hit Morbid at this rate, so he's just going to put it out there. He swings back with the Vampire, and now he does have instant in the graveyard, so he is getting a bonus from that, and he equips and ships the turn. Tim retaliates with attacks of his own, and he elects to block the Sleuth. And there's the Morbid trigger on the Festerhide Boar, so it comes in with an additional 2/2 on it. Jobin says, "Don't bother, I'm going to remove it," and swing back at you, put you down to 4. Tim comes back with a swing of his own, putting the score to 4-5 in Jobin's favor. Tim studies the board for a little while and realizes that he's dead on board, so scoops it up, moves on to game 2. In game 2, Tim will elect to be on the play. Neither player will take a mulligan, and we get started. Tim will lead off with a land and ship the turn. Jobin will draw his card, play land, ship the turn. And Tim will play a second land, and wouldn't you know it, another Mayor. Jobin has to find something quick, or it's going to be a short game for him. He plays a land, ships a turn. That's not good, because now the Mayor will flip over and become a 3/3. And Tim just realizes that, and yeah, at the end step he's going to be getting wolves that are getting pumped, so this is going to be a a quick one. Tim drops a Trepanation Blade and puts the free token into play and passes the turn. Jobin plays a third land, and not much else. Tim excitedly untaps with 3 lands open, quickly attaches the Trepanation Blade, and swings. He does not swing with the Alpha for fear of Rebuke, which he knows is probably in Jobin's deck. And based on our camera, we can see he does have it in hand. So smart play by Tim not to swing with the Alpha. Jobin follows up with the land and notices that there is not another token in play. So he wants to read the card to make sure that it's not a May, or if it's something that you have to catch on your own, or if it just happens no matter what. And Tim reads the card, and Jobin wants to take a look at it just to make sure, double check. But yes, it is not a May, and he does get the token. So even if you miss something, the Mayor of Averbach is going to have your back and put a token in for you. Jobin follows out with the Moan and puts 2 zombies into play and ships the turn. Tim will end step flash in Ambush Viper, and next turn swings with everything except the Alpha. And Trepanation Blade is going to trigger. And Jobin flips over 1 card, giving it +1/+0. He elects to double block just to try and stay alive and find an answer for the Mayor before it gets too late. Tim will follow that play up with a Chapelgeist. It's a 2/3 flyer, and ship the turn. Jobin untaps and draws, and will lay a land. Take some time to study the board. He's got to stop the bleeding somehow, so he taps 2 lands and plays a Bonds of Faith, targeting the token. So now Tim has 1 token that's up and available, and the other one is pacified. Cannot attack or block as it is not a human. Jobin will follow that play up by casting his 2nd spell of the turn to remove the Chapelgeist, and thus flipping over the Alpha in the upkeep, as one person casted 2 spells that turn. Now this will slow Tim down, but it doesn't look like it will be enough, as there's still quite a bit of threat on the board. Tim will equip the Trepanation Blade to a token and go for the swing, and he brings everybody. He brings the heat, trying to end the game here and now. Trepanation Blade trigger will happen. Jobin starts flipping cards over, and every time he flips one over, the creature's getting 1 bigger, and he realizes that it's the end of the game. So moving on to game 3.